Hey everybody, welcome to Charge Forward, an exciting event celebrating the Cadillac of electric vehicles, the 2023 Cadillac LYRIQ. I'm Justine Ezarik. Some people know me from YouTube as iJustine. Now, we are only 2 hours away from the moment when more than a century of innovation will be at your fingertips with a chance to reserve your LYRIQ Debut Edition. Reservations open at 4 p.m. Eastern on Cadillac.com. Now, over the next 2 hours, we're going to learn how the LYRIQ dramatically blends the sensual with the technical and introduces the visual embodiment of Cadillac electrification. Inspired by the LYRIQ's innovative technology and sculptural design language, we have curated an exciting show featuring fellow icons of innovation, each of them trailblazers in their respective fields. From a chef specializing in molecular gastronomy, to influential leaders in biotechnology and business changing the face of leadership, to rising musical talent. Each segment will demonstrate the innovation required to stand out and charge forward towards a greater purpose. Now, to get a little taste of what we'll be unpacking today, let's check in with Louis Hilsentegger, the creator behind YouTube's wildly popular Unbox Therapy channel. His mission is simple: to share the coolest products on the planet. Hey Louis, what have you got in store for us today?
Thanks, Justine. I just got my first glimpse at the all-electric Cadillac LYRIQ, and I have to say, it's a truly unique vehicle. There's so much that I want to discover on it. To start with, the EV battery tech, the new Ultium battery platform, the enormous 33-inch diagonal curved advanced LED display, which is probably the largest I've ever seen in the dash. And then last up, Super Cruise. That's GM's hands-free driver assistance tech. As you can tell, it's a lot for us to check out. We're gonna be doing that very shortly. But first, let me send it back to you, and then you check back in with me, and we're gonna discover it all.
Thanks, Louis. I cannot wait to see the Black Crystal Grill. That thing looks incredible. Now, the LYRIQ doesn't have an ordinary grill. It's designed to recognize the driver and greet them with a choreographed lighting sequence. The inspiration for this is intended to engage our senses, like many of the LYRIQ features. And on that note, our next guest will do just that. He knows exactly how to combine flavors, texture, and innovation to create dishes that are visually striking with a sculptural appearance that excites the senses. He is the winner of Top Chef All-Stars, a published author, and a restaurant owner. I am very excited to be here with Chef Richard Blais.
Justine, oh my gosh, good to see you. I didn't get my own choreographed lighting sequence.
We can work on that for next time when, you know, things are, I didn't plan that properly. I'm so sorry.
No, it's
Next
okay,
time.
it's okay. But I also don't have ordinary grills myself. So this is a perfect segue to cooking some delicious food. So I would like to know, can you help me make this dish that is going to be a sensory experience? And I think is gonna really represent what the LYRIQ has done in the vehicle world. We're gonna do the same thing with this appetizer.
Okay, I definitely can help, but will I actually be of any help?
I think so.
To be determined.
I think so, okay? So what we're gonna do is I like to fuse sort of different concepts and sort of like take traditional ideas and take them to the next level, right? And add a little bit of innovation. So the dish we're gonna be doing is, it is a salmon avocado tostada.
Did they tell you that salmon is my favorite food
Is
of
it
all
really?
time? Yes. Oh, this is gonna be
There
great.
it is. Really, really healthy. Everyone likes avocado toast. We're not gonna use bread, we're gonna use a tortilla. And we're gonna take the sort of the flavors of Mexico and also the flavors of Hawaii, one of my favorite places to visit and hang out. I love Hawaiian food.
Also my favorite. This is so perfect.
This is gonna work, okay? So what you're gonna do is make the avocado tartar sauce, right? Because it's a seafood dish. And this is the way I think when it comes to creating food, right? I'm like, it's a seafood dish. Everyone likes seafood with tartar sauce. I don't want to add mayonnaise. I want it to be a little healthier. So instead of using mayonnaise, we're going to use avocado. So you have in that bowl a little bit of mashed avocado. And what I want you to do is I'm going to season the salmon. Is you're going to add the seasonings to the avocado crema to make that. So we have some chopped dill right here. You can go ahead and add that if you'd like. We have some parsley, some onions, and then some lime juice. So you're going to add these four. And you're gonna add it with this spoon right here if you want, and just mash up that avocado crema.
And I'm just putting this all in there.
Yeah, you're just gonna dump it in there and mix it up, right? Basically, you're making a guacamole, and it's flavored with the flavors of tartar sauce. So again, always taking sort of a traditional idea and taking it to the next level, adding a little bit of surprise. You're gonna add all that. You can add a little salt and pepper as well if you want. And then I'm gonna start the salmon part to our dish, right? So this is inspired by lomi lomi, which is basically, it's usually like a salted salmon dish, but I'm gonna use fresh sushi grade salmon, right? Because some people don't like the flavor of the strong and intense flavor of salt. And I'm gonna add some pico de gallo. Now, usually this is just some chopped tomatoes and onion, but pico de gallo, again, fusing sort of Mexico and the flavors of the islands together. So I'm gonna add a little bit of the pico de gallo to my salmon. You're mashing up your avocado tartar sauce as the base to this tostada. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of seaweed salad, right? A little bit of seaweed salad, really driving home pardon the pun, driving home. That works.
There you go.
Driving home the flavors of the ocean, right? This beautiful seaweed salad. There's a little sugar in there. There's a little bit of seaweed as well. And I'm gonna just add this, mix it up. I'm also gonna add a little bit of pine nuts as well, give it a little bit of texture, right? So we're always looking for our food, just like you have the chopped onion in there, you have the chunky avocado. I have some pine nuts in here now, the seaweed. We're looking for this sensory experience, right? It's all about these little details. It's not just about how tasty the food is, how delicious it is, but it's this sensory experience, even to the point of how it sounds, right? While you're making it, how it sounds, how it smells, not just how it tastes. Okay, we're gonna need some salt and pepper. Yeah, thank you so much.
I'm doing the best job that I can over
You're doing
here.
great. You wanna crack some pepper into the avocado right there?
I already did, but I'll put a little more in.
Okay, there you go, there you go.
More or
I'm not
less to
judging.
taste.
I'm not judging, I'm not judging. Okay, there it is, a little bit of salt. I'll put a little bit of pepper in mine.
Okay.
How does it smell over there, by the way? When we're thinking about sensory experiences,
really good.
like, you know, that's the first thing. There's something, it tastes good when it smells good, right? So we have this dish, we're ready to actually plate. If you wanna start that, what we're gonna do now is take 2 of the tortillas, and we're just gonna put a layer of the avocado on each tortilla, and then I'll top it with the salmon that I have over here. And while you're doing that, I'm gonna get into the real innovative part of this recipe. We're gonna, have you ever, you like sushi?
I do,
Okay.
yes.
Have you ever had like a raw egg yolk on like some tuna tartare or something like that? It's pretty traditional.
I don't think I actually have.
Okay,
So
well-
this could be a first.
Well, actually, we're not gonna eat the raw egg yolk because it's kind of gross. I mean, just the way I think about it is like, okay, raw chicken egg on raw seafood, not something that I enjoy. But we're gonna make an egg yolk out of mangoes, right? And that's kind of surprising, right? You've never had a mango yolk before, but we're always trying to take these visual cues, right? Again, present something that looks, okay, it looks like an egg, but it tastes like a mango, all right? So what we have here is some mango puree, and very simply, what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to whisk into our mango puree a little bit of calcium, right? And mango has some natural calcium already, but we're just gonna add a little bit of calcium, and we mix this together, very, very simple. And then in this container over here, I have sodium alginate, which sounds crazy, innovative, and fancy.
I feel like we're in some sort of science lab because you're adding calcium and sodium and like all of these random things together. Like normally I just, you know, put something in the microwave and we're good.
Listen, the microwave is a very technological advanced tool,
true.
right? But in this case, these things happen in nature, right? Mango actually has a lot of natural calcium. And over here, the sodium alginate, it's actually seaweed. It's a derivative of seaweed. So there's gonna be a chemical process that happens when the calcium and the alginate sort of combine. So what I'm gonna do is take my mango puree right here, and I am going to make this mango yolk. So I'm dipping my ladle into the alginate, and then the mango calcium solution, very simple. I just simply put that into there. And then let this mango mixture sort of float in the alginate. And what's happening is it's creating this sort of layer, this gelled sphere around the mango puree. And you can see there, it just kind of floats, right? And when we pull it out of this solution, it looks like an egg yolk. I'm gonna pull one out so we can see it. And then when we put it on this salmon avocado tostada, people are gonna be like, oh, it's an egg yolk. When they taste it, it's gonna be mango. So there's always this surprise element that we're looking at when we're
I really
creating
like
food.
that you're taking these classic recipes and making them new and exciting. And that's kind of just like how Cadillac has taken their long history and made it new and surprising.
I think so, absolutely. You know, and in the same way, like we're not, you know, beholden to like the gas engine here, right? Like we're literally cooking with no heat on the stove right now. This is a dish that doesn't even require heat. In this case, we're cooking with alginate, and later we're gonna actually cook with something that's really, really cold. So no spoiler alert. Okay, you're doing a great job over there. Let's get that avocado on there. I'm gonna grab this one from you so we can plate our avocado tostada. So perfect layer of the avocado crema or the tartar sauce, whatever you'd like to call it, works for me. Also, again, visually, right? Of course, we eat with our eyes first, right? This is a beautiful dish. Like we're not thinking about presentation first, we're thinking about performance first. But if it looks beautiful as well, that's not gonna hurt the dish. And here it does. I'm gonna put this over here. We have the vibrant green of the avocado and the seaweed salad, and then the orange color of the salmon, which is just incredible. Sort of put that out over there. And now, of course, we're going to top it with our mango yolk.
So how did you come up with this? Is this something that you just were like, these all seem like they would go well together?
Yeah, I mean, again, you sort of build the lexicon of flavors when you're a chef because you've made so many errors in the past. And then as you travel, like I did just come back from Hawaii, so I'm like, okay, lomi. Oh, it's sort of salmon and, tomato salsa. Usually it's a cured salmon. Here I'm gonna use fresh salmon. So we're usually taking a traditional idea and then sort of taking it to the next level, if you will.
And do you normally like to combine like the savory and sweet, or is there like a preference?
I like both. Sometimes I like to start the meal. We're gonna do a sweeter dish right after this. There's a perfect one. You can really, really see there. That is a mango yolk. You get the perfect one.
If you told me that was an egg, I'd be like, that's fine. There's nothing in it. Like I wouldn't even know.
Exactly. No, now what happens is, and that's surprising, right?
Yeah.
So when you see, oh, it's an egg. We've had people return them in restaurants, and like, oh no, I don't want any raw chicken yolks on my dish, and it's like, oh, it's actually a mango, and then they still return it. They don't know. They still return it. Okay, so there we go.
Have you always been fascinated with molecular gastronomy, or is this just like a new kind of thing?
I think it's always the quest to sort of want to learn new things. Truth be told, maybe I failed a chemistry class in high school. I mean, maybe. But as a chef or as an innovator, as an engineer, you're always looking to sort of create something, right? And you're always looking for, and you're always thirsty for that knowledge. We're also gonna garnish this right here with one of my favorite easy recipes. This looks like caviar, right? But it is just mustard seeds.
Oh, wow.
So what we've done here is we've just had mustard seeds and we just soaked them in some vinegar and a little bit of sugar. And again, it's mustard seed. Mustard, we know as a flavor is gonna work with salmon. We know that caviar sort of reminds you of seafood. A little bit of caviar right there. There we go, a little bit of the caviar on there. And then, of course, if you wanna just grab that little bowl of those beautiful little foraged greens, because we always want to really bring a little bit of nature to the dish. So these are actually little baby beet greens. If you want, you can
really
just
pretty.
jump in here and sort of garnish yours with a little bit of citrus fern. And you might think, oh, do you just use them because they're pretty? And the fact is, these citrus ferns taste like citrus. That's gonna work with the dish. So we're never making a decision based just on visuals, right? Everything has to go back to taste or performance. There we go.
Look at this.
I mean, yours looks better than mine. It's not a competition, but Justine, you win if it is.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe it.
There it is, there it is. Okay, so that's our salmon avocado tostada, and now we're gonna move along to a sweet dish, a dessert, or a delightful beverage.
This is amazing.
Okay,
Thank you. Wow. Check that out. That looks so good.
Okay, so Justine, we're gonna make our dessert or our frozen beverage. Can you grab over there that tray with all of those ingredients?
I got you.
I'm glad you're doing that because that's, I went to culinary school, believe it or not, and the hardest thing for me was carrying a tray like that. So like,
I can juggle, so like I'm so ready for
that.
this.
Okay, so we're making our elevated frozen treat right now, and it's going to combine a lot of tropical flavors that I love. Hopefully you're okay with pineapple and coconut, passion fruit. All right, there we go. So we're gonna take our pineapple juice. We're gonna add it right here. I'm gonna add a little bit of cream of coconut as well. All right, and then we're gonna just very simply sort of mix these flavors together. I mean, sometimes it's just a traditional flavor pairing, right? Like, coconut and pineapple, they just work really, really, really well together.
I also like that you have a coconut whipped topping.
Coconut whipped topping, yes, because we like to sort of stack flavors, right? So there's gonna be coconut that's in the actual beverage, And then can we change the texture of it as well? Can we present coconut in 3 different ways? These are also some pineapple pearls, right? That we make using the same technique that we made that mango yolk with.
Oh, wow.
And they sort of pop in your mouth. But again, we're gonna have pineapple in the drink, pineapple pearls on top. So we're always thinking about stacking textures and flavors. And now we're gonna bring out probably the ingredient that I'm most known for. We're cooking with something that's a high temperature, but it's a cold temperature, right? So we are going to use some liquid nitrogen right here. So some liquid nitrogen. This is a cryogenic fluid. It's actually part of our atmosphere. This is the liquid form of nitrogen, and I'm gonna pour it into this container. All right, now liquid nitrogen is very, very cold. How cold is it? It's minus 367 degrees Fahrenheit.
I've definitely had like the liquid nitrogen ice cream before.
Yes,
It's
yes.
super fun. Is this like your secret ingredient? But I guess it's not that secret.
Yeah, it's kind of, now I can't go anywhere without you. It's sort of like the hit song that you have to play. But yes, it's very, very cold, minus 367 degrees cold. I like to think of it as it's as cold as frying oil is hot, right? And we can actually do this together if you want.
All right,
do you want to pour or do you want to whisk?
Whatever.
You should whisk.
Okay.
You should whisk. Okay.
Right.
Here it is. So it's kind of like making if you were making a homemade mayonnaise, this is how you would make it. Now, if your hand gets really, really cold, I'll swap out.
Okay.
You let me know.
How much do you put in? Do you just keep dumping?
Okay, so basically it's kind of half the amount of liquid nitrogen. I'm gonna jump in just to make sure. It's about half the amount of nitrogen as to the liquid that you're trying to freeze, right? In this case, again, it is coconut, cream of coconut and pineapple.
This reminds me of like a little Halloween treat.
Yeah, I stay pretty busy in the fall,
I bet.
for sure. And definitely, you could also make this, you could use dry ice, but what I like about the liquid nitrogen is that it doesn't form ice crystals. So what you end up getting, ice cream-wise, you said you've had liquid nitrogen ice cream, you get a very, very smooth textured result, right? And now I can kind of feel it. You wanna just stir that real quick so you can kind of feel that it's becoming.
Oh yeah, it's like kind of like a more of like an ice cream-ish.
Yeah, so it's,
texture.
and when people always ask me, how do you know it's done? And like a chef says, I just know, or something like that.
You just know.
Well, here you just, you're literally
know.
feeling it. It's not really looking at a recipe. But now we can see right there holding that up to the camera. So in a matter of a couple seconds, we've taken pineapple juice and coconut milk and we've turned it into this delicious ice cream or sorbet. And a lot of this sort of stuff, for me, I competed on a lot of shows and I would have to make ice cream in 5 minutes. So when you find the technology or the innovation that can help you do things faster or more efficiently, I'm always up for it. Okay,
I think
so
that's
now
what's so exciting about just technology in general. As everything evolves, you can do things quicker and more efficiently.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so what we're gonna do now, you're gonna help me. We're gonna take that, that coconut whipped cream and we are going to just get this down in the glass. By the way, I'm so hungry right now.
Me too.
I'm glad that we're gonna sit down and eat in a little bit.
Incredible.
Because this is kind of my weakness, like frozen, something that's frozen, tropical, and sweet. All right, so if you want, just go ahead and fill up both of these, maybe just right to the rim.
Like that?
Yeah, I love that.
Do you want more?
No, that's perfect. I think that's perfect. And then we're just gonna top this off with a little bit of these pineapple pearls, right?
This looks really cool.
So again, is it a dessert? Is it a elegant frosted treat? Is it a snack?
It's all of the above.
It is all of the above, and it is delicious for sure.
Do you have a favorite drink?
Yeah, this is one. I think it's really important, for chefs too, to cook what you like to cook. And I love these flavors. I love these sort of tropical flavors.
And look at this presentation.
Listen,
This is
maybe
great.
it's old school. It's old school. It's the pineapple leaf here. But I think look, I'm ready to, we have straws. We might need spoons. I think we should do a cheers.
Okay, let's do it. All right, cheers.
All right.
But before we try this, we have to head to a little break. So when we come back, I'll get the chance to dig into this amazing looking food. Plus, we'll be checking back in with Louis to learn more about the LYRIQ's design language. Stay with us.
My name is Candace Willett, and I'm the Cadillac Advanced Lead Designer for Lighting and Choreographed Experiences. Cadillac has a strong heritage in vehicle lighting, and with LYRIQ, lighting has never played such a prominent role. There are a few critical reasons for this. First, lighting is one of the strongest ways we can visually convey the electrification of Cadillac. Second, with LYRIQ, We are introducing revolutionary lighting technologies that instantly identify the vehicle as something new and special. And third, LYRIQ's lighting is our chance to introduce the face for the brand. We would like to think that lighting helps to elevate the expectations of the LYRIQ ownership experience. And when walking toward LYRIQ, a choreographed lighting sequence will awaken your senses and welcome you to your journey.
Looking at LYRIQ head-on in place of a traditional grille, the focal point is a clear illuminated Cadillac crest on the black crystal shield. Dramatic lighting immediately distinguishes LYRIQ as a tech-forward electric vehicle.
Regina approaches the all-electric Cadillac LYRIQ. It's a sunny day.
Nah, a stormy day.
We see a close-up of the grille.
An overhead shot.
She drives hands-free along the coast.
Make it Palm Springs. Cadillac is going electric. If you want to be bold, you have to go off script.
Reserve your LYRIQ today.
We're back with Chef Richard Blais, and now it is eating time. The LYRIQ was designed to energize our senses, and I feel like this dish has a way of doing the same. It is all in the details. For instance, I love how LYRIQ has these unexpected pops of color, highlighting special design elements in the vehicle. And your dish definitely has this unexpected pop of flavor and color.
Thank you. Yeah, I think so. It is. It's a pretty one for sure. So I'm excited. Should we just jump in?
My first question is, how do we eat this? Is there like a proper way?
Yeah,
because
so, I'm
not sure.
There is, architecturally speaking, right? This is one that I think it's going to be a knife and fork, right? And I think especially when we have the mango yolk that's in here, I think you cut the yolk first, right?
Okay.
Like you want that big moment of the reveal to sort of see that gushing mango yolk. But I think then we're just jumping in there. Then the way to eat it is however you want.
Because I was just gonna pick it up, but I feel like maybe we'll just, do a nice little proper way first.
Oh, well, let's see. You know what? It could barely. You could do it. Okay. I don't want you to. I'm gonna go. I'll go in for one bite. I'll go in for one bite. And this is like the big moment. It's like for a celebrity chef, like training for the moment where you take the bite. Okay. Here we go. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna go in the proper way. Okay, so we're gonna cut this. Oh wow, look at that. So it's really interesting then because like the yolk didn't really break when you infused it. Is there like some sort of technique? Was that because it just sort of
so
itself?
the alginate again sort of forms this like really translucent sphere that goes around the mango puree so that it gushes as if it was a raw egg yolk.
Okay.
You know what I really love about this too is like we're talking about this full sensory experience. When I pick mine up and like when you just cut into yours, you also get the audio from it. And we are thinking about all of our senses when we're creating a dish or when we're creating a dining experience.
I mean, how would you describe like your cooking style?
I would say that I'm a traditionalist. Like whether or not other people would say that, maybe modern American.
I don't mean to cut you off. I'm so sorry. This is really good.
Oh, good. That's great.
Whoa! No, the mango yolk is so shocking.
Well, that's what we're looking for, right? So, listen, many chefs can make delicious food, but can you take it to that next place that really surprises someone, right? That takes the experience to the next level.
So I feel like this is your cooking style. Like it really is that element of surprise and sort of just bringing in all of those really cool things.
It is. It's something that is rooted in tradition, right? But then there is some innovation. There is an artistic take on it that sort of, again, takes it to a next place, that it's not just delicious, but that it's also artistic.
I mean, it kind of feels like you're an engineer, but for food. And do you think that there are parallels between engineering something like a vehicle and a meal?
I think so. Now, what they've done with LYRIQ and true engineers, that's a level that I can only aspire to. But I think you are thinking about structure, architecture, how to design something that's not only beautiful, but also practical. Like, I'm very proud that I actually picked up the tortilla and it didn't break. So there is some engineering that goes into it. And we are constantly thinking about those things too. Like, visually, does it sit on the plate the right way? Like, what does the plate look like compared to the colors that are on the food? So it is a lot of engineering and detail.
It was also interesting because like my second bite tasted different than the first one because some of those little mustard seeds were kind of sprinkled throughout. So it's like that one tasted slightly different.
And that's what you want, right? I think one of my mentors would say like, there's 3 or 4 bites that you can get like really different flavors. And then after that, it all just sort of becomes the same. But you want 3 or 4 different bites to create these different experiences.
Right, this is so good.
Now listen, I'm gonna jump in with the beverage, I think.
Okay.
So, because these flavors, the pineapple and the coconut, I'm just like a kid when it comes to this. So I'm gonna jump in for a sweet sip here, shall we?
I'm first gonna like take one of these little pineapple chunks
Okay.
off first. Is that okay?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Listen, there's no rule. The thing about food is there's no rules. It's whatever you want. Then you got a little bit of that sort of the explosion of pineapple in the pearl or the pineapple caviar, if you will.
That is so good. I haven't
is
even got
good.
to the actual drink yet. And those little pineapple chunks were incredible.
This is fun. And I think that's the other side of it too, right? Like, it's beautiful. I'm serious about my craft, not so much about myself, right? And at the end of the day, yes, it has to be delicious, but it has to be fun.
I mean, this is so, like, honestly, I wish that you guys at home could taste this because it is honestly so incredible. And just to watch you make this, like, it seemed so simple, but it's like these ingredients are really anything that anybody could really make, but it's like your thought process behind it and the presentation sort of makes it unique.
And to me, that's what works. Again, flavors that we know work together, right? But then maybe changing the textures of those ingredients so that you have this burst of pineapple. You have the temperature contrast of the frozen coconut to the whipped coconut. And we're looking for all of those things to happen. Textural contrast, temperature contrast.
So in a way that like driving a vehicle is an immersive experience beyond a motor and wheels, from interacting with the display to the way that it feels when it accelerates to the sound environment created in the cabin. And when you create food, there's all these extra elements that you can make this experience memorable.
Absolutely. And it's like spicy food, and there's a little bit of spice that's in here. It's the same as that sort of rush you get when you do have like the Lyriq accelerating, right? Or even when you're talking about the audio, maybe the lack of audio because it's an electric vehicle, and it's really sort of, you feel that sort of acceleration even more so.
It's even these little, the pineapple, what did you call these?
Pearls.
Is there like a name for them?
Caviar.
And is this something that you made, or is this like a creation? Like,
This is something that we
common?
make. This is something that you make. It's the same technique that we use to make the mango yolk. The mango yolk's called reverse spherification, and the pineapple pearls are called spherification.
Are these like common things? Because I mean, as someone who does not cook or has really, if anybody's watched any of my YouTube videos, they know that I'm not a chef by any means. Is this like a common thing, or is this sort of something like super special?
I mean, this is sort of the vocabulary of the molecular gastronomist, which, yes, is it common in creative cuisine? It is. At the end of the day, again, it just has to be mango and it has to be delicious, or
Right.
it has to be pineapple.
No, it's so good. And when you were a kid, did you have a favorite dish, or is this something that you sort of developed as you got older?
I think soft serve ice cream clearly was one of my favorite dishes because the textures of like soft serve ice cream show up here and there again, but also like classic American food. Like, I love cheeseburgers and fries, but my recipe for French fries takes 3 days. Maybe there's liquid nitrogen involved.
3-day French fries?
3-day French fries.
That's amazing.
Yes, I apologize to everyone who's cooked for me in the past.
So do you have like an elevated peanut butter and jelly sandwich? I feel
listen,
like if you don't already, you need to do it.
I think we should, but then there's always this like, is there anything better than the classic, right? Like,
well, if anybody's gonna do it, I feel like you can do it.
listen, you take the crust off, you punch it out, you make it look like a ravioli. This is just me like spitballing right now, but yeah, we like to play with these traditional flavors.
Maybe a nice custom like cookie cutter for a holiday, because my mom used to do that all the time. I remember she used to make like the little shapes like in the peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
That's the best. I mean, really, that's what I'm doing. I'm just taking what mom did when we were kids and then sort of like bringing that into the restaurant.
Right, that's so great. This is so fun. Do you have anything that is like your favorite thing to cook?
I mean, I do at home. I love cooking pasta, right? Just simple pasta. My kids love carbs. Something that you can throw together a great pasta dish just by opening up the fridge and finding 3 or 4 ingredients. When I'm on stage or when I'm hanging out, when I'm trying to impress friends, or in my restaurants, I do like to use a lot of these techniques, right? There's entertainment and there's education happening at the same time. And I love that. When you can get people excited, especially when it comes to tech or science about food, you're turning people on to a whole new world.
And for anybody who might want to get into this, do you have any recommendations for them, like where to start?
Yeah, I mean, clearly they can hang out with me on social media.
There you
That
go.
works for sure. There's a lot of great books, but really just the key is to just be open for experimentation. Play with your food and have fun while you're doing it.
And so why is creating an elevated food experience important for you and your audience?
I mean, for me, again, it's because of the experience, right? So like you can get delicious food in so many different places, but it is about creating that experience that takes it to the next level. So sometimes that might not even have to do with the food, just like inside the lyric. It might have to do with the sound system. It might have to do with what the seats feel like, what the temperature of the room is, how it sounds. So for me, the total experience is important.
This was so good. Honestly, it was incredible.
Thank you. It's pretty. I'm happy, and I'm not usually happy with my work. So there you go.
And what I love is like these are such common ingredients, like salmon and avocado and all of those things, and you kind of put a spin on it. So is that something that is common for you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're always trying to, things are traditional and things are classic for a reason. Can you make those things better? Can you engineer? Can you innovate? Can we make it a better experience?
I feel like that's actually what Cadillac is doing with the Lyriq, because they're taking that classic Cadillac, the thing that we know and we love, and kind of elevating that and updating it with the technology of today. So it's really cool to kind of take these two side by side.
There you go. Cheers to innovation.
Yes, let's do it. This also was good. I'm so impressed.
I'm gonna have another one. Is that okay? I'm gonna have another one.
Will we make a couple more? Speaking of technology, I am so excited for our next guest. She is one of the most influential figures in the biotechnology field, and she also happens to be influencing the very face of leadership in her field as we know it. But first, let's turn it over to Lewis from Unbox Therapy, who will talk about Lyriq's artful integration of technology while I eat a little more, have a few more sips. Lewis, can you tell us about the available curved 33-inch diagonal advanced LED display, please?
I gotta tell you, Justine, the Lyriq is a vehicle I've been excited for a long time now, ever since the early concepts. So it's amazing that it's right here beside me right now. It's packing all kinds of technology and luxury, and it represents the future of Cadillac. So let's go ahead now and take a closer look. We've got to start at the front end here. You have this distinctive look, which is not always the case across the industry when it comes to electric vehicles. Some of these grille areas can tend to look generic. Not here. You have a nod to the origin, to the history of Cadillac, and of course, you've got the Cadillac crest in the center, but there's more to it. Actually, the vehicle will greet you when you approach with the key in your pocket. I'll show you what I mean. Watch as it lights up from the crest to these lines and its variety of geometries in here. And then of course, the headlights are distinctive themselves. They've also packed in all the sensors you'd expect to find for parking and your camera in the center. And I also like this little lip at the bottom that gives the vehicle a more aggressive and angular stance. So the Lyriq has a 100 kilowatt hour battery, 340 horsepower, and a near 50-50 weight distribution between the front and the rear. And because it's on the Ultium battery platform, a lot of the weight in the vehicle is down low. That helps give it a sporty and planted feel. So the Lyriq has more than 300 miles of range, and when it comes time to recharge it, you can do so with 190 kilowatt DC fast charging. That's capable of delivering up to 76 miles of range in a 10-minute charge. If you're charging at home, that's gonna happen at 19.2 kilowatts, and that's capable of delivering up to 52 miles in an hour charge. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at these rims. This is a 22-inch, so it's fairly impressive, at least in scale, but also in the design, which I think ties in nicely with the front grille. You've got this angular pattern and theme going on. This is the roof line up top, and you can see it's got this nice sort of aggressive tilt to it. And then it culminates in this spoiler right above the rear glass. Actually, the entire roof is glass, and we'll get a better look at that once we hop inside. Now, since this is an SUV, we do need to talk about cargo. I'll pop open the trunk here and give you a better idea of what to expect. You can see that you have 60-40 split folding seats. So you can have one down, both down, whatever's necessary for you, although I think a lot of people are gonna find that they have plenty of cargo even with those in their upright position. And if you grab this little door here, you'll see there's even some more storage down there for smaller items or things that you don't want to have move around too much. It's finally time to jump inside the vehicle, but before we do, I want to showcase this handle. Well, it looks like a handle, but you know it's got to have a little twist to it. Actually, all you need to do is push right here, pops open automatically, and then you're inside. So we're finally inside the brand new LYRIQ, and as you can tell, this interior is dominated by this 33-inch diagonal curved display capable of displaying up to 1 billion colors. It's low profile so I can see over the top, and unlike some other displays in the space, this one is not obtrusive. They found a way to blend it into the dash, which just seems to fit. Now there's also some tactile buttons for things that are frequently used like climate, so I can just reach up and quickly adjust things like heat and cooling, and there's even this little joystick for changing the direction of the airflow. And then we have these trims in both wood as well as aluminum. The sound system trimmed in aluminum over here on the door panel. That sound system by AKG actually travels up to the headrest as well. There's speakers in here for even more immersion. And if you look up, you'll see this large panoramic roof. It's glass, and it really increases the feeling of space inside the cabin. So there you have it. That's our first look at the new 2023 Cadillac LYRIQ, the first all-electric Cadillac.
I'm Rory Harvey, Global Vice President of Cadillac. On behalf of the Cadillac team around the world, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. Over the course of this program, you're going to hear a lot about all the special features, technologies, and design details that make the Cadillac LYRIQ so revolutionary. I'd like to take a step back and talk about how LYRIQ represents the future of Cadillac as a company and what this means. It's unquestionably true that over 119 years, Cadillac has been at its best when it dares to lead. Our legacy is paved with innovations that set the pace, that set the standard, and that speak to the pioneering spirit of our customers. From the first electric starter, the first electric lighting system, the curved windshield, all the way up to Super Cruise, the first truly hands-free driver assistance technology, these are meaningful, life-enhancing innovations.
LYRIQ is so fundamentally different from a design and technology standpoint. It fuels the imagination. We are reimagining the Cadillac brand, its mission, values, and purpose. We're reimagining how we manifest the brand in ways that rise to the courage and highest aspirations of our designers and engineers. Most importantly, LYRIQ enables us to reimagine the experience we offer to those who share our ambitious spirit. The LYRIQ helps drive us towards GM's 000 vision: zero crashes, zero emissions, and zero congestion. It's a seductive option for those who appreciate brave Cadillac design and are ready to move beyond internal combustion. More electric vehicles on the road mean fewer emissions. Cadillac is preparing to take a leadership role in this transformation. If you are motivated by a love for dynamic driving performance, our Ultium battery platform will deliver a high-performance luxury experience unlike any Cadillac we've ever introduced.
LYRIQ is a sophisticated electric vehicle, but that wasn't actually the primary objective. Our goal is always, first and foremost, to create a Cadillac without compromise. So, it's first and foremost a Cadillac, but it's also a fully electric vehicle. Our Ultium propulsion system, our batteries, electric motors and the like, open up a tremendous amount of space inside the vehicle, and Ultium enables LYRIQ to have a lower center of gravity. And while this benefits handling, it also, from a design perspective, has enabled us to lower the roofline and still provide a very large interior space for the driver, for the passengers, and for cargo. LYRIQ has a very unique profile as a result. The electrified powertrain has also enabled us to enhance the proportions of the vehicle and make it feel more premium. If you think about the great Cadillacs through history, the most striking ones have always had wonderful proportions. They've had long hoods and great dash to axle, which conveys a sense of strength and beauty bordering on an elegant menace. Inside, one of the first things you'll notice is how the glass roof bathes everybody in light, creating a sense of openness. You'll also notice the sense of space, again because Ultium enables us to push the wheels to the corners of the vehicle and maximize space. At the most fundamental level, I think we've succeeded in creating a thoroughly modern Cadillac for the 21st century.
Regina approaches the all-electric Cadillac LYRIQ. It's a sunny day.
Nah, a stormy day.
We see a close-up of the grille.
An overhead shot.
She drives hands-free along the coast.
Make it Palm Springs. Cadillac is going electric. If you want to be bold, you have to go off script.
Reserve your LYRIQ today.
Our next segment is titled Be Your Own Icon, and you'll see why when you meet our guest speaker. Named by Business Insider on their list of the 25 most influential African Americans in technology, she is an electrical engineer who's worked in the biotechnology field for major pharmaceutical companies. She's a prominent presence in the world of programming across multiple industries, and through her nonprofit Black Girls Code, she's paving the way for others to follow her path. A true icon of technology, she is here to share her thoughts on diversity and growth in the tech industry and how to achieve personal victories and excellence. Please, everyone welcome Kimberly Bryant.
I personally experienced a crisis of identity in the summer of my sophomore year of college. Now, I was struggling to rebound from what I think was a brutal first 2 years as an engineering major at Vanderbilt. And I decided to spend my summer break at school and found myself in my very first electronics class, taught by a TA named Ali from Afghanistan. Now, unlike many TAs I'd encountered before, Ali took a special interest in my growth and my potential as an engineering student. He encouraged me. He recognized my talent, and as the only young Black woman in his classroom, he nurtured my success in that sea of young white men. For the first time in 2 years, I felt seen. I felt like I truly belonged in that classroom, in my major, even at my school. And as a result, I thrived. For the first time, I embraced my identity as an engineer and as an innovator. In fact, I was sitting quite comfortably at the top of my class until the day of the final exam. To this day, I'm not quite sure what happened, but let's just say I failed that final exam miserably, and I was devastated. Now, someone in Ali's position could have responded in any number of ways, but this is what he said to me instead when I came to visit him during office hours. Ali said, "Kimberly, this one failure is not an indicator of your potential. It does not define you. You are one of my best students." And so with those few words of encouragement, Ali worked with me to add assignments and special credit that boosted my score, and as a result, I finished that class this summer with a solid A-. Ali saves the day for me. But unfortunately, we can't clone Ali to support every young woman in a STEM field. But I think we can all learn a valuable lesson from Ali about how we can become better allies, or dare I say, accomplices, in shifting this perception of identity and belonging in the field of tech and innovation. I think about this story often when I reflect on the experience of my daughter, Kai. Just 10 years ago, she was attending her very first summer camp, learning about this thing she loved called technology. I remember vividly to this day driving down to Stanford University to pick her up after 5 days of her first time away for summer camp. She ran down the steps and told me all the things she learned in her class and showed me pictures of all the many things she built in her very first game development workshop. I also remember that she shared one thing with me that made my heart drop. She said, "Mom, I love this class, but sometimes the male TAs didn't really pay as much attention to the girls as they did the boys." It was in that moment that I saw my daughter's experience mirroring so much of my own. And I did not want her to experience those challenges that were facing her identity as a young, contemporary Black woman in the field of tech. So when I founded Black Girls Code 10 years ago, I had no idea that it would grow beyond a small grassroots organization into an international movement reaching over 50,000 students across the US and abroad. I started this organization as what I like to call an experiment in a tiny basement in San Francisco with only 8 girls who were sharing 6 computers. At the time, I considered myself simply a nerdy mom raising a geeky daughter who was 12 years old at the time and really obsessed with computer gaming. I never expected at the time that my daughter Kai, who once wanted to be a veterinarian, later wanted to be a bassist, and even a future artist, would someday follow in my footsteps and become a computer scientist and engineer herself. But that's exactly the career path that she chose. When this seed for this idea of an organization was planted, it was because I recognized that although my daughter Kai had an unparalleled and almost unlimited access to technology, she was still very much a consumer of it and not a creator. So we started BGC with this small kernel of an idea. How can we teach these 8 young girls who were digital natives, yet unfamiliar with the fundamentals of tech, how to code? Although we all lived in the heart of Silicon Valley and were surrounded by a plethora of technology companies, there were very few opportunities for my daughter Kai and these other girls that look like her to learn these skills for the future in an environment in which she felt she truly belonged. I knew if I wanted my daughter to truly find her tribe, if I was to be able to position her as both an innovator and a creator, I was going to have to clear the pathway a bit to support her on this journey. In the words of author Seth Godin, either you're the creator or you're the audience. Either you're waiting your turn or you're taking it. I wanted Kai and girls like her to have a fair and an equitable shot. I wanted them to step into their destinies as creators. I wanted to prepare these girls to step up to the driver's seat and claim their turn as innovators and leaders even in the tech industry. Now, while we started with a humble objective to teach just those first 8 young girls to code, we discovered a need and a calling to do so much more. And so we expanded our vision and we recalibrated that goal to teach 1 million girls to code by the year 2040, to create a new generation of leaders and innovators in the tech industry. Since we began this journey in 2011, these girls have gone from knowing little to nothing about coding to building applications of their own, learning about artificial intelligence, building websites and games, learning cybersecurity, and so much more. They're achieving so much, even now as students, and being recognized for their work and their talents. Many of our girls have gone from wanting to work for a tech company to planning to be the owners of one themselves. Now, it's in this way that we are reminded that BGC is about so much more than just teaching these girls to code. Our overarching goal is to teach them self-confidence, self-efficacy, a sense of self, resiliency, and to build a pipeline of talent that feeds the innovation cycle of the future. I spent a great deal of my time as CEO of Black Girls Code on the road speaking to audiences all over the world. Now, traveling the world is great, but I must admit I get the most joy and fulfillment on those very rare occasions that I'm able to sit in on a classroom of these future technologists at Black Girls Code. These rooms are full of bright, brilliant techie girls, and in that place, a certain magnetic and powerful energy emerges. It's something that I akin to magic, or the closest of magic I've ever experienced in real life. Now, I can't really know what that secret sauce is. Sometimes we call it Black girl magic, but I think it's much more than that. These rooms are filled with the promise of hope and possibility. It's the opportunity to create more rooms like those at BGC that fuels my mission daily and drives me forward with a hunger and a desire to increase diversity and inclusion in the tech industry. I am convinced, totally convinced, that the future success of our industry relies firmly on ensuring that we bring everyone into rooms like those at BGC, not just in the tech industry, but in all industries, even in virtual spaces like the one we are sharing today. We need all hands on deck to create a better future for us all in this next industrial revolution that is fueled by technology. Now, however, this notion of identity and how we frame who gets to play a role in this technology revolution is important. Your identity is how you define who you are, but is also very dependent on how others see and define you. And quite often these definitions are not the same. In the 21st century, we are witnessing a challenge to traditional notions of identity and what that means for each and every one of us. As leaders, we are called to do more than make space at the table for our own dreams, goals, and ambitions. I believe we are called to shake up the system a little bit, to make space at the table for others, especially those who are marginalized or different from us. While we are surely the architects of the future, we must also interrogate how we build something that is more equitable and more fair. How do we focus our efforts on eliminating the margins and leveling this playing field for those who are left out and forgotten? I believe it starts with an elevation of a broader identity of creators and innovators by creating space for those from marginalized communities to take their turn at the driver's seat and be at the forefront of innovation. Building equity and inclusion into the field of technology is indeed transformative, but it's not because of the potential market benefits of greater inclusion, but because people matter in and of themselves. And finally, if you take nothing but one thing from what I have to say today, it's you can absolutely be what you can't see, because that's what innovators and disruptors do. Thank you.
Stay tuned because Kimberly will be sticking around to chat with another groundbreaking entrepreneur about how they're putting these skills to good use in business. In the meantime, the countdown to 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, the chance to reserve your all-electric Cadillac LYRIQ Debut Edition continues. But first, let's learn more about how the LYRIQ offers a higher standard of integration.
I'm Andy Owry, the engineering technical leader for General Motors' new high-voltage battery packs that are part of our Ultium propulsion system. The LYRIQ is the first Cadillac to use this new battery technology that I've been working on for several years. I've been fortunate to carry forward the GM learning about batteries and electric vehicles that kicked off in earnest about 25 years ago with an early all-electric car called the GM EV1. I love talking about this subject. Cadillac plans to be an all-electric brand by the year 2030, and I couldn't be more excited. This is a great challenge, not just to make EVs, but to give our customers the power, comfort, and style they demand with vehicles that are both thrilling to drive and easy to own and maintain. Batteries and how we harness their energy storage and power are at the heart of this plan. LYRIQ is built on the proprietary Ultium platform. And just to be clear, Ultium is more than just the battery. The Ultium platform is a modular system that combines interchangeable drive units, motors, integrated power electronics, and the Ultium battery cell modules. These Ultium battery cells use a state-of-the-art nickel, cobalt, manganese, aluminum, or NCMA battery chemistry. The great news is our battery recipe is expected to have some of the highest nickel and lowest cobalt content in a large format pouch cell, and this lowers the cost of the battery.
LYRIQ also offers Super Cruise, the industry's first true hands-free driver assistance technology for compatible roads. We believe that, like EVs in general, once you drive with Super Cruise, you won't want to drive without it. While the exterior looks like the show car that inspired it, we also focused on bringing utility to complement the sleek exterior. Utility especially means cargo space, and LYRIQ won't disappoint with 60.8 cubic feet with the second row seats folded. Additionally, the architecture even allowed us to position the 33-inch diagonal advanced LED display down and away to provide outstanding outward visibility and create an open, airy feeling in the cabin. The 33-inch diagonal advanced LED display is a single curved piece of glass wrapping around the driver. The display itself has the highest pixel density in the industry that can produce 1 billion colors. Once you're up and running, drivers and passengers will notice remarkable quietness due to our next generation active noise cancellation that actually monitors the road and uses LYRIQ's AKG 19-speaker sound system to help mitigate road-induced noise. The system takes data from accelerometers located at all 4 wheels, allowing it to calibrate noise cancellation to mitigate road impact-induced noise. Even LYRIQ's wheels were designed to strict stiffness requirements, which helps reduce road noise generation. Remembering that 19-speaker AKG premium studio system I just mentioned, the system elevates the in-vehicle sound system with front head restraint speakers, providing a true luxury audio experience, and we are the only brand on the road today with AKG on board.
Cadillac's revolution has arrived, with LYRIQ as the opening volley. It's a significant vehicle, and this is a significant moment for GM, for Cadillac, for our dealers, for our customers, and for the planet, as we take a giant step toward delivering on our vision of a future with 0 crashes, 0 emissions, and 0 congestion. The beauty is that we no longer need to imagine these things. We don't need to imagine a Cadillac with 0 tailpipe emissions. We don't need to imagine hands-free driving on compatible roads. LYRIQ is the future of Cadillac. It's an historic moment. And thank you for sharing it.
Regina approaches the all-electric Cadillac LYRIQ. It's a sunny day.
Nah, a stormy day.
We see a close-up of the grille.
An overhead shot.
She drives hands-free along the coast.
Make it Palm Springs. Cadillac is going electric. If you want to be bold, you have to go off script.
Reserve your LYRIQ today.
Welcome back, Kimberly. Again, thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for that inspiring talk. It was honestly
Thank you so much.
So incredible. And I feel so honored that I get to have a conversation with not only Kimberly, but I also want to welcome another icon of innovation into our studio. This visionary is constantly pushing ingenious ideas forward and now serves as the CEO of Nplug and Nanoli. These two companies are making waves within the digital signage technology and bioscience fields. Please welcome Nancy Liu. Yay!
Thank you so much for having me.
Man, I wish we had a studio audience here to have some applause, because I'm so excited to have both of you guys here chatting with me today. This is so exciting.
Thank you.
So Nancy, you majored in business and political economy. Now, did you set out to create these companies? Did you have any idea like what impact you would actually be making?
I think just growing up in Colorado and then getting the opportunity to go to UC Berkeley, you're surrounded by really the most brilliant students around. And so I think while I was at Berkeley, anything that I built, it was kind of like go big or go home. So why not? If you're going to build something and you're going to put in the energy, why not just push yourself to make the biggest impact possible? So I would say for my co-founders, for both companies, I think we approached both companies with wanting to make a big impact and wanting to build the best technology in the industry, or developing a technology, in the case of Nanoli, that was really going to change our field. And so, yes, we went in with a big vision, and we had a great time just pursuing that.
And were these ideas that you had previously, or was it something that you just felt that there was like a missing puzzle piece in the industry?
For Nplug, it was so accidental. If you told me that I was going to start a digital signage software company, I would have been like, first of all, what is that? I had no idea what that was. Initially, we were trying to build something very different. We wanted to build a network of screens that was able to recognize who was in front of them and serve really relevant content. Like if you walk down the street and you had these screens, they would know who you are and actually show you content, again, that was specific to you. So we started looking for a software that can do that. That's how we came upon the digital signage software industry. And so we started looking for digital signage software, and it was all super difficult to use, really expensive, required engineers to be involved, and we wanted to build something that anyone can use. And so we decided we're just going to build our own software for our network of screens.
I love that so much, because I feel like even when I was growing up, I had all these random goals. And I feel like if I would have stuck to my original goal, like I probably wouldn't be sitting here doing what I'm doing. So it's like when you kind of have that flexibility to sort of shift and do something else, but yet make it successful, is so awesome. So I love that you guys were like, this is great, let's just go and do it. And I think for you as well, Kimberly, talking about, you know, how you had that one TA that really kind of gave you that push to sort of just, you know, it was okay and you could do this. Like I have such a similar experience to that, because when I was growing up, I was the only girl in my coding classes. But it was weird because I never thought like, oh, I'm a girl. I was just, this is something that I love.
Right.
So I think it's great that so many more women are getting into, you know, technology, and it's really great that, you know, you started this company that basically is promoting that, and it's really incredible.
Well, I think when you think about the world today, there's not very many industries or businesses that I can think of that do not utilize technology. Like technology powers every business. And so with that frame of reference, I think it's important for everyone to have at least an understanding of what's behind the curtain, what makes things run, what powers it, you know, what powers these screens that you're building is technology. And so I think with that point of view, it's important for businesses to ensure that they feed the pipeline of the future, so that the folks that are building the tools and things that are going to power their businesses have a diversity of perspective.
For sure. And I think like, you know, feeding that pipeline is also, you can take that into sort of another kind of way of like parents, mentors, teachers. Like what kind of advice would you give to those types of people who want to empower younger girls to sort of get into this?
I think it's important. When my daughter Kai was growing up, I really did not set limitations on what she could do or what she could be interested in. I myself am not a gamer. My daughter is a heavy gamer. It drove me crazy.
I'm a heavy gamer.
Oh my gosh, me too. Okay, I'll have to get all your gamer tags afterwards.
Absolutely. But I mean, I think it's important for you all to have an opportunity to explore wherever your interest lies. So not just relegated to the pink aisle, which was what my childhood was like. I think that gave her a range of things to see where her interests really and passions were, And I think that is what allows you to be your fullest self and become the leaders in this industry.
Yeah, no, I love that so much because honestly, like, I can't believe my parents like just let me do all the weird stuff. Like, I was taking apart the VCR, I was taking apart everything because I wanted to know how it worked. And for them, they're just like, okay, I hope she can fix that. But thankfully, my dad was always super techie, so he could always fix my mistakes. But it's like, for me, like, they were kind of that driving force that really let me do these weird and crazy things that kind of led me on this path. And I feel like for you as well, I mean, how did your parents impact, you know, your entire career?
I'm so grateful. So my mom was a computer science major, and so she got her master's in computer science. So she was really one of the first influential women in tech. And so I grew up around technology.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
so in 1995, when I was 5 years old, I already had an email address. And I thought that was pretty unique. I feel like there weren't at that time that many 5-year-olds with email addresses, but my parents, because they were also very techie, I had an email address, and I was very proud of it.
Do you remember what it is?
Yes,
Maybe you shouldn't give it out to everybody.
I know,
We can talk about it after.
It was something really cheesy.
But going back, Nancy, to your company called Nanoli, so what is it like for you, like with that company specifically? Like, what did you know? Like, what was the moment where you're like, this is it? Like, this is something that I want to be a part of?
Well, I completely started the company accidentally. I think for me, it was all about working with really brilliant, smart people. And so I met my co-founder randomly at my senior year of college.
That's incredible.
And so he was working on some brilliant PhD research, and we just started talking about really big problems in the world. I have family in rural China, he had family in India, and we both know folks who have died from vaccine-preventable diseases. And part of that is the accessibility of vaccines, where you still have to refrigerate vaccines. So we said, why don't we create something where you can combine it with vaccines and it doesn't need to be refrigerated? And so again, I was 21 years old and my co-founder was also in his 20s, and I would say we naively were like, you know what, we're just going to tackle this problem, but hey, we actually made it happen. So we actually developed a technology that can do that. And so that's why I tell people, you know, instead of dreaming small, dream big, because you're going to spend probably just as much time to achieve that small step as you would getting to the big step and achieving something really huge.
Exactly. I mean, why would you want to be like, I think I have a really small idea, I'm just going to do that, and then that's it? Like, no, you might as well just go all the way.
Exactly.
So Kimberly, you're an electrical engineer, and you just spoke about the importance of diversity. Can you give us some specific examples of how advocating for diversity has impacted your career?
That's a great question. When I think, you know, of my career, you know, before I started my nonprofit organization, I was in many different industries, always in the engineering function, and not having very many other women in leadership roles there as well. So for me, I always ended up being on more of the employee advocacy side in terms of really making sure that other young women had mentorship opportunities, that they had advocates in the workplace, that they really had a way to own their own career paths, because I think that's really important. I think as an engineer or anyone that's starting their career, no one's going to manage that career for you. You have to know how to manage it yourself, but you need tools to do that. So a lot of the work that I did before BGC was really making sure that there were pathways and tools and networks where different diverse employees could find a way to really advocate for themselves in the career and workplace.
And can you talk more about Black Girls Code for anybody that might want more information about it? Like, how do they join? Like, what's the whole process?
Sure.
Like, what do you guys what's the whole deal here? What do you guys do?
So, Black Girls Code as a nonprofit organization is really based on this chapter-based model of the foundation. So we have 15 different chapters, 14 of those are in the US. We have one chapter that's in Johannesburg, and we have a literal army of volunteers that are employed as software engineers, et cetera, that come in and teach our girls on the weekends. They come in during the summers and teach our students. They go into schools. And so it's really open to any girl that is interested in learning about coding. There's no application. They just register for an event in a city, and also now virtually, because we've taken a lot of our workshops online. And they can join us and learn these tools and really be mentored as long as they want. So we have girls that started with us back in 2011 and 12, and now they're in college, but they come back and they teach. So I like that we don't have a time limit on how often a girl can be engaged with the program. It's just as long as they have interest, we're there to help them grow.
I mean, it seems like if you keep having these graduates, they're just going to keep teaching and teaching. So it's just, you're gonna have this cycle of never ending.
I love that. I think it's a circle of kind of like giving back and each girl becoming a mentor to the next generation. But ultimately for me, it's really for these girls to see other women in the field doing things that they're interested in, like yourself or like Nancy. Like, that is what I want for my girls. Like, I want them to be like you, and I want them to be like you. I want them to really not just be software engineers, but to be leaders and to be advocates and own their voice in the space. And so for me, that's like my biggest dream, is to see them step up and do some of the wonderful things you guys are doing.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And I think that's also something too. It's like when I was growing up, I didn't really have somebody to look up to. I mean, you're so lucky you had your mom that was kind of already doing that.
That's right.
Did you guys have anybody else that you kind of looked up to, that you sort of modeled your behavior or inspirations off of?
Well, I think for me, it's interesting, like one of my very first role models I found like in my freshman year of college. I was just sort of walking to class and I found this other Black woman that was also walking on campus, and I don't know how I struck up a conversation, but I did. And I found out she was also an electrical engineer. She was an upper class woman, and she became like so key to my success because I didn't see many folks that looked like me in my class. Like I never saw another woman, and certainly another Black woman in any of my classes. So it was pivotal for me in that moment to run into her and actually be able to latch on to her as my role model and mentor. And now she's still a lifelong friend. She's on my board of directors of the organization. And it's key, and I think, in that way for women to have role models, because, you know, this work that we do in the industry and engineering is hard. You say it's not easy. It's not easy. It's hard. And so really having someone that has done some of these things that you're hoping to do is vitally important. It gives you that, you know, kind of push to keep going.
But another thing that you guys were talking about is which I feel like growing up, I always had this feeling that like other women were like a competition. Like I had to do this to be better than someone else, or do this. And it's weird because as I've gotten older, I've realized that is so silly, because you should be connecting with these people and everybody empowering each other and building each other up. And I'm so grateful that I have a really great group of powerful YouTube women that were just like, you know, we're championing for each other. And I don't know when it was that sort of flipped the switch, but like for me, I just want that to happen sooner for people like in middle school, in high school. Like there shouldn't be competition. You should all be doing this together. And I think that's like one piece of advice that I would love to kind of share with younger women in the younger generation. Do you guys have any pieces of advice for them?
I think mine would be to not set limitations on what you can do and try everything. It's like, so when I think back on my younger years, I think I was fearful of failure, if you will. So there's a lot of opportunities that I probably passed up because there was such stress for perfection, if you will, and not to fail, you know. And I think back on that, and if I had taken, you know, more chances in my career or even in engineering, like I could have been running Facebook. Like what you're talking about. So I mean, for me, it's about like, and I tell my daughter and my other mentees all the time, it's like, try it all, like take all the chances now that you have an opportunity to, because you never know where the path may lead.
But I think what makes me excited is like the future of like, what's it gonna be in 10 years from now? And I think the thing that kids now, they're like, I wanna be a YouTuber, I wanna be a TikToker, but it's like, you need to think bigger. Like, what is the next thing? It's like when I started YouTube, no one was doing this. It was weird, you know, you got made fun of. So it's like, what do you think like that next thing is? Is it augmented reality? Like, what is that next innovation? Like, do you guys have any ideas? Should we like,
There's so many.
Yeah.
I would say AR, VR, immersive. I think there's a combination of being able to access this immersive technology with personal devices to make it really seamless. But I think there's also going to be a lot of experiential things where maybe you don't have to own the hardware itself to experience it, but maybe you go to, in the future, these theater experiences where you have the AR and VR, as well as, you know, a really portable AR VR set headset where, it doesn't have all the wires. And again, we already see some of that, but I'm super excited about all of that coming.
Me too, because it's even like this past year, I feel like that's the way that people were experiencing the world through VR and AR, because it's like we couldn't leave, so what do you do?
Yeah.
And so Nancy, a lot of your success seems to come from partnering up with people whose ideas that you loved. So what drives you to just go up to someone and say, hey, what's up? You want to start a company?
So one of my co-founders, we met randomly sitting next to us on the plane. So you really can meet your co-founders anywhere. And so one of the things I would say, I wasn't afraid to go up to them and ask to say, hey, let's start something together, was I knew what my strengths and skill sets were, and I knew what I could bring to the table. And so maybe they are the ones that with the MD, PhD, like my co-founder for Natalie, I'm never going to be as good as him in chemical engineering, but that's okay because I'll bring the business part and the strategy and the finance part to the table. And so I'm okay and confident with that. Another part of it is I think having failed a lot and faced a lot of rejection growing up. I tried a lot of things that my parents encouraged me, from piano competitions, which is a super humbling thing because you could play the same piano song at one competition, win, and you play the same at another and you can totally, not place at all. And so I think when I was young, having a lot of that rejection, that failure, made me be like, okay, it's okay. But I'm for sure never going to make it if I don't take that shot. You don't make any shots that you don't take. So I really do believe and subscribe to that mentality. And so that's why I think when I want to work with someone, I'm not afraid to go and ask them to say, let's collaborate.
Yeah, I mean, they can say no, and you're like, all right, well, let me go find somebody else that will and prove them wrong, which also has been kind of like a fun kind of trend. It's like, so many people have just like slammed the door in your face, said, no, you can't do this. What you're doing is never going to be anything. And you're like, I feel like if you have that will and just, it's going to be something, like you honestly can make it something. It might take a while, but you're going to get there. So Kimberly, what are some unexpected ways that you've seen Black Girls Code kind of impact the tech world?
Well, I think about when we started back in 2011 and 2012, there was not as much focus on teaching kids to code from a gender lens. So like there was, this movement that was just starting around getting kids to code in general. But I think with Black Girls Code, I saw the shift into really looking at the issues in the technology industry around diversity. I remember vividly when some of those diversity numbers started to come out in like 2013 and such, and everybody was like, oh, we have a problem. And we were like, yeah, we've been saying that for 2 years. We got a problem. And I think for BGC, I think that part of our work is about just being present in the moment and talking about this issue of diversity in tech continually. That has really kind of brought some of these topics out into the open and really magnified the light on the issues in the industry. And now there's many organizations teaching girls to code, and I think there needs to be even more, because I think the issue is something that is a long game. It's not gonna change tomorrow, like hopefully in my lifetime, but I think it's a long game that we're playing, and I think I'm really proud that BGC has been a part of this.
Do you guys have anyone that inspires you now that you look up to?
I say for me, it's my daughter. I really am inspired by her ability to be her most authentic self. So like when she was growing up, and I talked about this in my talk a little bit, she wanted to be a little bit of everything, an artist. And I was like, you can't make money that way. But so I probably wasn't given the best parenting advice in terms of that. But she found her way back to it, and it's integrated in tech and doing crypto art. And like yourself, she really did like the design part. So she does mostly front-end design, and she's interested in product design. So her ability to just own her passions and not be limited even by what I may tell her is inspiring to me, because I think that really speaks to her own sense of self and resiliency, and it's really inspiring to see all the things that she's been able to accomplish.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I would say for me, I am constantly inspired. I don't know if there's one single person, but even amongst my group of friends, I have this amazing group of founder friends that every single time, even after they sell a company for $1 billion, they move on and they go and they'll conquer another industry totally unrelated to what they were doing before. And that's motivating because I think it really demonstrates their ability to problem solve, as Kimberly will say. That's one of the best skill sets to have. And not only problem solve, but to also gather really talented people together and influence them, inspire them to solve this problem together. Because I'll say, any kind of big problem, you can't do it alone. It has to be with a team, and the more talented people that you can get behind your idea, the faster I think you will achieve that. And so every single day, I just try to read as much as possible about some of the really cool, innovative things people are doing. And I definitely believe in that quote or expression, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
And so I'm always trying to surround myself with amazing people.
Right.
And that's what I think gets me excited.
For sure, no, I totally get that. And it's just, it's so amazing. And it's like the news travels so quickly about inspiring things just online. So it's like every day there's a new story that I feel like you can be just, inspired by. So for both of you guys, what do you think has been the most satisfying moment in your career?
So for our company, we started out of this like 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment in Koreatown of Los Angeles, like with nothing. And so we always, my co-founders, when we started, we always joke like, one day we're going to be, one of those big companies that gets to take everyone on like a fancy vacation. And so we finally actually achieved that in 2019, where we were, we had been profitable as a company and growing for, at that point, many years. And so we finally took everyone, all of our employees globally, plus their partner or significant other, whoever they wanted to bring as their +1, to an all-expense paid vacation to Puerto Vallarta. And it was a true vacation, like literally no work meetings, nothing. And that was really satisfying. That was a wow. Like, do you remember back in the day when we first started the company, when we were all eating ramen out of this 1-bedroom apartment, developing our software, that we're like, we're going to do a fancy vacation. We finally achieved that. And so that was really satisfying.
That's so cool. And I think that's so important to like just really show your employees that they are respected, because they are a part of the company that you're building. And it's not just one person, like it really is a team.
Yep, exactly.
Did you have any special moments?
For me, it was last year in the middle of COVID, we had to take all of our team remote and into quarantine. And we have all these workshops that were planned all over the, all over the US and all over the world. And we had to shut everything down because we didn't know what was going to happen. And, everybody was sort of on lockdown. And about the middle of April or so, we were like, oh, okay, we probably need to do something if we're going to continue to support these girls. And so that's when we decided to make this shift to virtual programming. Now, we use virtual tools like Zoom and such just for meetings here and there, but we didn't teach on these platforms. So we had to literally learn how to transform all of our lesson plans, all of our curriculum into the virtual platforms, and we started to teach. And I remember when we had a very first workshop, we did a series in April, and we did a cute little video to promote it, and we put all this notifications out, and as soon as we made the event live, we literally saw ticking. People were registering for it. And we were like, is this actually working right? Is this a glitch? Because it was every second someone was registering. We ended up with over 1,000 people in this event, literally from all over the world. And we were blown away because we're like, whoa, we never thought that this virtual platform experience would have so much far reach and impact beyond what we ever imagined. And so as a result of continuing to do these workshops throughout 2020, we ended up reaching over 10,000 students in the course of the year. We never reached that. That's been a goal for 10 years. We never hit it until COVID. And that's how we hit it, is because we reacted to the situation where we didn't have many options but to figure out a way out of no way. And as a result, we saw our impact really exponentially grow more than we ever imagined it could.
Yeah, and it's weird to think that this global tragedy has actually brought a lot of good. There's so many incredible stories that have come out of this, of people, who were not able to connect with people, and now it's completely changed the way that we connect. And,
For sure.
And it's kind of amazing because it's like before, I feel like a lot of people felt unheard, and now because of this, it's really forced people to change. It's like a lot of these conferences people couldn't go to because they couldn't travel and they weren't digital. And now it's like so many more people are being included. So it's very, very exciting.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So this next question is kind of an interesting one, so you guys can answer this however you want to answer it. So what do you guys define as success? Yeah, it's a tough one. I know, because it really can be anything. Because I think a lot of people are like, is it monetary? Is it, a feeling that you give someone? And I think there's a lot of answers. There's no right answer. It's, whatever you guys feel.
For me, I would say success is defined as being able to realize my full potential and to make the most use of my skills, strengths, my network to be able to make the biggest impact. And so if I'm able to realize that, then I feel that's success. And of course, like if I can, along the way, also have a great time doing it, then that's even better.
Right.
I think for me, I would say my word is legacy. And especially 10 years in with BGC, that's it for me. It's really, I want to be able to leave this industry, leave the nonprofit space, and leave the pathway for the girls that have been part of our program in a better place than it was when I started. Because I didn't plan to do this work. Like this path found me. Like I was not planning on doing it. Trust me, I was not. And I think for me, it's really about making sure that the legacy that I leave behind makes a true impact, and it really helps shift the narrative, not just for these girls, but around tech inclusion overall.
You guys are both on your way to leaving incredible legacies. So this is really incredible, and those are both great answers. And I think shifting to consumers, as a consumer, how do you think that they can contribute to the technical evolution?
I think there's actually a lot of ways consumers can give feedback to move innovation forward. I know certainly for InPlug, one of the ways that has helped us define what are the best next features and innovation to develop within our own company is actually just customer feedback. And even though our customers are businesses, at the end of the day, it's actually people that we're working with that's using our software and giving us in real time, hey, here's what we like, here's what we're looking for. And some of the best ideas, honestly, have come from our customers giving us feedback of what they want to see next in digital signage software.
Right.
I love that. And I also, just to expound on Nancy's point, I think customers need to speak up, use their voice, ask for what they want to see. So when we think about this new generation of automobiles and this focus on electric cars and vehicles, and customers should speak up, really being able to lend their voice to what they want to see from the brands that they support is how change actually happens.
Speaking of all electric cars, which I'm so excited about, this new Cadillac LYRIQ is so beautiful. Is there anything that you guys are most impressed with?
I'm in the display business, so I have to say the interior, there's a beautiful curved LED display, and so I love that aspect. So I can tell, I think Cadillac really thought about not just the exterior look, which looks super sleek, but also the interior and the user interface, the user experience. It looks super futuristic, but also easy to use.
Oh, I love the thoughtful design process. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize how much thought does go into that. And man, it looks so good. Do you have any favorites?
Well, I have to say, as the electrical engineer on this panel and the power-trained professional that I once was, the thing that really caught my eye was this Ultium platform and how the battery is laid out in a way that creates this really near instantaneous torque, which means it probably really maneuvers well and like a very sporty vehicle. And not only that, it's just, the possibilities and how you can access and power your vehicle and all the options that it gives is something that it may seem not interesting to some folks, but as an engineer who majored in power, it's all about the power system for me. And that's one thing that I thought was really cool.
And it's great too, because on the techie side of it, yes, it is an incredible feat, but also for most consumers, they're like, I just want to, hit the pedal and go.
Right.
So it's really cool to kind of understand the behind the scenes and how this stuff actually happens.
For sure, for sure.
All right, once again, Kimberly and Nancy, thank you guys so much for spending time with us today. You have not only inspired me, but so many young women out there. So I'm so grateful for you guys that you came in here and shared all of your expertise.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. And we're going to be charging forward to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
LYRIQ is the culmination of Cadillac innovation, designed to energize your senses and, in the spirit of Cadillac's performance DNA, provide a truly exhilarating driving experience. One that makes every hair stand on end. LYRIQ is an electric vehicle, but it will first and foremost be a Cadillac. We share a mindset with our customers. We are bold, sophisticated, and optimistic. And LYRIQ will have a Cadillac estimated over 300 miles of range when fully charged, so recharging your vehicle at home every night, like you recharge your cell phone, is the solution for most people. LYRIQ spearheads a new portfolio of transformative electric vehicles for Cadillac, leading the iconic brand into an electric future while redefining luxury over the next decade. This is the spark, the dawn of a bright new era. Our electric future, rooted in more than a century of innovation, begins with an uncompromising electric SUV.
In Cadillac's history of design excellence, there has never been anything like LYRIQ. LYRIQ is a conduit to the future that combines seamless form and intuitive technology. It's ingenious, intricate, and purposeful. LYRIQ's interior is high-tech and luxurious all at once. It is a landscape of technology and tranquility that elevates Cadillac's standards for excellence and comfort, creating a very intimate driving experience. The theme of LYRIQ's interior is the integration of art and technology. Every element builds beautifully into the next. Nothing is tacked on. Everything has been considered and designed to flow together as a whole. Upscale furniture, architecture, and elements of nature were key sources of inspiration across the interior. Attention to the smallest detail is a key aspect of the LYRIQ's interior design. Everything captures that essence, from the knurling pattern on the multifunctional controller and the vent adjusters to the inside of the vents themselves. Even the cup holders are special. LYRIQ's interior presented a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Cadillac's designers, the chance to go all in on an electric vehicle. The interior design restrictions imposed by an internal combustion engine, such as a transmission tunnel, were no longer there. This allowed the team to reconsider how to design an interior space and create an experience that will redefine what it means to step inside a Cadillac for years to come.
We are now just minutes away from reservation time, so let's take one last look at the fully electric Cadillac LYRIQ. Take it away, Lewis.
Thanks, Justine. As you can tell, the new LYRIQ is a truly unique vehicle with tons of awesome tech features. I can't wait to see it hit the road in 2022. And if you want to take a live tour of the LYRIQ, head over to live.cadillac.com and go ahead and reserve your very own LYRIQ starting at 4 p.m. EST and 1 p.m. PST.
Thank you, Lewis, for that final peek at the all-electric Cadillac LYRIQ. Now, after everything that we've seen and heard, all I can say is thank you, Chef Richard, for that phenomenal meal and refreshing drink. It was the perfect pairing of gastronomy and innovation. Thank you, Kimberly, for your amazing contributions to technology and for being such a champion of diversity and inclusion. Nancy, thank you for investing in technologies that you believe in and bringing them to life with your entrepreneurial spirit. And last but not least, thank you to Tinashe for sharing your incredible talent and closing the show on the highest note possible. This was such an amazing way to celebrate the all-electric Lyriq. Thank you to Cadillac for your newest creation, and thank you all for being here with us for the last 2 hours. The moment has finally arrived. You can head to Cadillac.com right now and reserve your all-electric 2023 Cadillac LYRIQ Debut Edition. I am so excited. But first, can somebody get me my laptop because I do not want to miss out on this. Here's the countdown. Yes. Oh man, I'm so hyped.